What's up? What's up? This is Mike Solo,
What's up, everybody? It's Hollywood.
and we are the Role Players. What up, bro?
What's happening, man?
Good, man.
Good to get this started.
Yes, sir. It's our first ever podcast, and we love the NBA, and we about to get ready for the NBA playoffs. Man, what's one of the matchups you looking forward to see?
I'd have to say, probably looking forward to the Philly and Nets series. I think that'll be a good series. I think the Nets, with the way D'Lo's been playing all year.
Yeah.
I think he's definitely due for a most improved player.
Right.
And definitely got a chip on his shoulder this year.
Right.
And he's definitely. I saw the last game of the season against Wade.
Yo, how was that like?
Like he put on. Even though it was Wade's night, he still put on. So I really got to say, I'm impressed with him. When he was on the Lakers, I knew they made a mistake drafting Lonzo, and then trading.
But Lonzo told me the truth.
Yeah, but trading D'Lo, I knew. A lot of times people, they saw him and they get. Distracted by his antics when he was, recording.
Well, he's snitching. What you expect?
Yeah, but it was that team, like that culture. So he left that team.
Right.
He always had it in him. He was putting up numbers before in the Lakers. So when they traded him, and they kept Lonzo, I was like, nah, I knew that was a bad move. And now he's shining. So
Lonzo, you are a bad move.
Lonzo was bad, man.
You are bad for business. Ask LeBron.
He's definitely one of those point guards that he needed to get groomed into the starting job.
Right.
Not just throw him in there. But, Magic.
Mm-hmm. Well, don't worry. We're going to get into all the matchups and stuff and everything that's going on today. Definitely looking forward to some of the big matchups and stuff like that. So let's just get into it. We're going to start with the 1 seeds because, it's all about the 1 seed. They won all their games to be the 1 seed. So first matchup, we got Warriors versus Clippers. Now, the season series, the Warriors they have won 3 out of 4 games against the Clippers, and they have a +5 against them. So who do you feel is going to win the series?
Really? Really?
But Steph is questionable today.
They could put Steve Kerr on that Warriors thing. He could start. And Steve Kerr is 100% going to be just all they need Steve Kerr to do is shoot.
But they got the Clippers got Patrick Beverly.
And
but they got the other guy.
Realistically, the Warriors will take that series in 4 games.
4-game sweep?
It'll be a sweep. I'd be shocked if it went 5 games. I just can't see their toughest matchup to me in the West will end up being Houston.
Well, we're gonna get into that. We're just gonna start with the round 1 real quick. But you feel that this is gonna be a sweep.
I think that's.
I mean, like should this be on TNT or this should be on like NBA TV?
Yeah, you should be able to sim that round.
just press.
That's a series you should be able to sim.
Just fast forward to the next round.
Just like in 2K, where you can sim around when your team is too good.
Oh yeah.
You should be able to sim that round.
Oh man, all right. So let's stick with the 1 seed in the East. We got Bucks versus Pistons. So the Bucks they won 4 games against the Pistons this year, pretty much like the series, and the Bucks are a +10 against them this year. Who do you think is going to win the series?
I think this is the year Giannis takes that next step.
Okay.
The NBA's been really pushing for him to be. I think they really want him to be the face. They've been searching for that face for the past 3-4 years now, especially with LeBron coming into the twilight.
Right.
So, I think they make that push for Giannis to take the next step. I can't see the Pistons being a matchup for them. Blake
they got Blake Griffin. They got a few good players up there. They got some playoff experience.
I mean, that's very important, the guys with playoff experience, but I can't see that being an upset. It just realistically doesn't. I think Blake is going to do what he does. Drummond's going to do what he does. But outside of that, I can't see where
they got Reggie Jackson.
I can't see where they'd be able to get the offense to sustain what the Bucks are bringing with Bledsoe and Giannis and
Brook Lopez.
Brook Lopez. It's too much. I think it's too much.
So do you see a sweep or do you think the Pistons could steal a game?
think it might be 5 or 6 games with that series.
Okay. So we got Bucks. We're gonna say Bucks between 5 and 6. All right, let's go to the next series. We got now the series that this is probably one of my favorite series. It's probably the series I think is the must-see series. We got Rockets Jazz. And now the series, the Rockets and the Jazz split the season series 2-2. So who do you think is going to win the series?
I mean, I still would have the Rockets winning that series.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel as though I think the Jazz came on. They got hot at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
We just got to see. We got to test the heart of Rudy Gobert. That's the biggest thing, man. If that guy,
but he's like a tin man.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. If that guy shows up with some heart,
right,
they could upset the Rockets. They could. Because you got to. I mean, Harden's going to be hard, man.
Right.
This year.
Oh man. I really think this is the series Harden wears off, and I really believe the Jazz win the series. That's gonna be my upset. I think the Jazz is gonna win this series.
Well, you know who the key is? Chris Paul.
Which this is the leg? Because Chris Paul playing healthy in the playoffs is like when we see that'd be the first time.
We need Chris Paul to be. If Chris Paul is healthy,
right.
It shouldn't be an issue for them winning the series. But if he even has the slightest injury,
right,
it's over. I think Harden can't do it. It's easy to do night to night because not every team brings it every night. But in a series, you got coaches; they can make adjustments.
Right,
they see things.
Right.
That they didn't see in the first game. So, like I said, it goes back to adjustments. But ultimately, I think Houston should win that series. It shouldn't be an issue for them.
Quick question. Who do you think is more healthier, me or Chris Paul?
Your dog.
My dog.
Your dog is healthy.
My dog is healthy.
You like Chinese food, man, so
Bro, I haven't ate Chinese food in like a year.
Oh, that's a start. So you got
I moved from Brooklyn. I live in Bayonne now, so I guess I haven't. Yeah, we don't have good. We don't have good Chinese out here in Bayonne, New Jersey.
Yeah, but you got like 30 years of Chinese food in your body, so you got to get rid of that.
I don't know. You know what? This is going to help me. This is my antidote right there.
No, it's definitely not an
antidote. It's a good antidote for like 11 o'clock in the morning.
I hear you, boss.
All right, the next series in the East, another. Well, it's not. It was going to be must see. Oladipo was there, but Celtics Pacers.
No, it's not must see.
It's not must see because Oladipo's not playing.
Even if he was there,
Oladipo is the shit.
Kyrie is. Listen, I have faith.
You talk about being healthy. This is going to be the first series of Kyrie. First season, Kyrie's been healthy since when? 2 years ago.
Yeah, but I have faith in Kyrie.
You have faith in Kyrie.
I have faith in him. I have faith that he'll rally the troops. It's a big year for him. Free agency is probably going to be maybe his last big contract.
He's coming right here. Knicks, baby. Knicks tape. He's coming here.
His last big contract for a guy like him with bad knees and whatnot. I mean, he plays below the rim, but Boston just has a lot of weapons. It's like they have a starting five, and then they have a role players that could be in somebody else's starting five.
Can you name one player from the Pacers?
Not Bogdanovich. Sabonis.
Yeah, him too.
Nah, he was solid. He gave LeBron fits last year.
Yeah, because Oladipo put the work in. And Oladipo
is no match for LBJ, man. There's nobody in the NBA that's a match for that guy.
Man, I mean, Oladipo was that close to being LeBron. We got to see the thing. We got to know that this man right here is like. It's like LeBron. It's like baby Jesus, LeBron, and him. You know those pictures when LeBron is like the two fingers are touching each other.
Nah, man. You know how it is, man. Growing up, we came up. You had Magic Larry, and then it was Magic Larry. It was like teams. There was an element of like teams in that late '80s and '90s, and then MJ got his shine, and it was like otherworldly when MJ came about. And as he started to decline, Penny, Shaq, Iverson, T-Mac, Vince Carter, all these guys started coming in, and you got to see the league start to elevate, but there was no like star. And then Kobe came, and then Kobe was godly out there. It was unreal. arguably he did a lot of stuff better than Mike.
So do you think the Pacers on that team aspect you was talking about, because if you think about it, like the 04 Pistons, how they beat the Lakers had all this talent, and the Pistons were just a team. Do you think the Pacers could be just that team against the Celtics with all that talent?
I think the Celtics are that team more so than the Pacers are, because if you think, I mean, if you take Kyrie off that team, the Celtics would be basically the Pistons, that 04 Pistons team. It's no star that you say is going to carry the team, but they have a team aspect. They play team defense. You know, they support each other.
Right.
So it helps them out, you know, and you add that star who is Kyrie, and that puts them, you know, above everybody else. And Kyrie has, in the East, probably the most playoff experience out of everybody.
Yes, he does. Yes, he's been a lot of finals.
Yeah, he got deep runs with LeBron, so he knows what it takes. He knows how to scale back, and he knows how to, you know, crank it up to the point where the team, like, you need it. So when you need those 10, 15 points to help you get ahead,
especially in the fourth quarter when you need just buckets in the fourth quarter.
You know he could do it. It's been proven.
Okay.
So I think that's what gives him the edge against the Pacers.
Okay. Let's go to the next series. Now, I call this another one of my upset specials, the Blazers versus the Thunder. And in the season series, the Thunder have won. They won the series 4-0, and they're the 6th seed. So who do you think is going to win this series? Now, also the Trailblazers, they don't have any Nurkic. So he's out after he broke his leg and stuff like that.
Ooh,
so
that was
nasty. So who do you think, between Thunder Blazers, who do you think is going to win the series?
If the Blazers had Nurkic, then I would probably give them the edge, because Westbrook, for everything that he does great, he has the worst basketball IQ in the last 2 minutes I've ever seen. I've never seen a player have that kind of bad IQ. It's his decision making in the last 2 minutes is so terrible, and it's a testament as to why KD left, because you see it. The guy he forces plays that don't need to happen.
So are you saying that this is a Paul George series, that Paul George need to take over the role and let Westbrook take a seat back? Or because Westbrook, his ego won't let him take a seat back.
I think PG has to step up if that team wants to go anywhere in the playoffs. He has to step. He can't have an 8-point performance in the closeout game. Not like last year. He can't do that.
Right. And if you look at the matchup between Lillard and Westbrook, and then CJ, who just come back from his injuries, and then you look at Paul George, and who's going to really be able to stop Paul George on that end? Like Mika Nuno, he's not going to like Paul George. I believe Paul George is the X factor. Like, do you think who would be the X factor for the Blazers that could be able to offset maybe Paul George's points? Because Paul George can get his 30.
I think the Thunder really do have a complete team, and I think with Steven Adams.
Well, you have a complete team without Melo.
Nah, my man Melo getting a raw deal this year, but I think with Steven Adams being where he is, and with no Nurkic, it allows Steven Adams to be more dominant than what he already is.
Right.
He's just, Steven Adams is like a glorified Joel Anthony.
But they got Enes Kanter.
Oh, I forgot the Blazers got him. He's pretty solid.
Don't worry, the Blazers forgot they got him too.
He's pretty solid, so it's not exactly a bad deal having him on the team. But I mean, ultimately, I think the Thunder will win. I think
and it kind of helps him now. He's going to play at OKC where he used to play at in his earlier career, so he knows like the court, and he probably knows how where the places that he could get his shots at and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I just feel like the Thunder being how they are, that team it's a good team. It's just ultimately Westbrook. It boils down to how well Westbrook can contain his emotions, because Lillard's going to bring it. He's going to bring it. Right. He's going to bring like 30 points a night. Right. As long as CJ can get him, support him with 15 to 20 a night, you just got to hope that your bench steps up and they can, your bench can get you 15 to 20. Right. And, the other players, the other starters can do what they're supposed to do. Right. And that will help, propel the team to maybe win 1 or 2 games. I can't see it going 7. Okay. I think the Thunder close it out in 5, 6 games. at the most.
Okay.
But you know, it's going to be that should be a good series.
All right. So the next series we got the next intriguing series, 76ers versus the Nets, and this series also this one is a 2-2 series. But it was interesting when I looked at the point spread. The Nets are plus 13 against the 76ers. But then the 76ers are the 3 seed. So who do you think? And they have the home court. So who do you think is going to win that series?
I think the talent will make the 76ers obviously the favorite with their talent. I think the Nets, they just have a chip on their shoulder. You know, it's Brooklyn. That's really how they do.
Brooklyn.
And, you know, I think the Nets squeak out a game or two. I think ultimately the 76ers close it out in 6. I could see it going 6. It could possibly go 7.
Right.
But I think 7 is a stretch. 6 seems more realistic just because I think the Nets could still win, even at home. It'll be interesting to see how the Nets coach, deals with
Atkins.
Ben Simmons.
Yeah.
See how he deals with if he can free Simmons out and make him have to shoot.
You think D'Angelo is going to have to guard Simmons at any time?
No, I can't see that. But I think, you know, if you go matchup for matchup, you know, I would take Russell obviously over McConnell. And, you know, J.J. Redick versus, Dinwiddie?
Yeah.
You know, J.J. is good. They Philly runs that same curl play with a 3 with Embiid, but he's out.
And Jimmy Butler, you know, he has a chip on his shoulder. And Tobias,
contract year.
There's a contract year, and you know how we feel about players with contract years. They
got to show out.
They're the most dangerous players because they got to play for that next contract. And then you look at Tobias Harris, who's really having a good career. And I think that was probably a solid trade that Philly needed for the shooting because they came in but they lost all their shooting from last year playoff team. And now they come in with players who are not only shooters but also slashers at the rim.
Yeah, they needed that. They needed that, but you know, they kind of depleted their bench some.
Yeah,
but
let me ask you: a team like the Nets, do you think you need enough bench to beat the Nets?
The Nets, no. I think you can do that with just your starters.
Because I look at the Nets, they look like a whole bunch of bench players that became starters.
I mean, it's mostly, you know, no pun intended, but they're role players.
Yeah, a bunch of role players.
Role players that are starting, that are, you know, exceeding expectations. And, you know, they took the spotlight from the Knicks. You know, it's a Brooklyn City now.
You know, that's not something we want to talk about. We get into that. That's like, man, don't worry. Listen, we'll win free agency. How about that?
We hope.
We hope.
We hope.
We hope.
We know how James Dolan does.
Let's not get started there. That's a whole nother room. All right, so the last 2 games, we got another. I feel this might be a big upset. We got Nuggets Spurs, and this series another 2-2 split in the season series. And if you look at the point spread between the games, they come out even in the whole year. Who do you think is going to win this series?
Between the Nuggets and Spurs?
Nuggets Spurs. Because you know who's not going to win? The fans. But that should be the NBA TV game of the week.
That series shouldn't even be on TV either. Can we press Sim on that series too? But realistically, the Nuggets, you know, all year they hype the Nuggets up. That's what the media does. They hype these teams up, and you sit there and you're like, yo, the Nuggets are good.
Well, Charles Barkley did all that hyping. Let's be honest. Barkley was the first on the bandwagon on that show.
You know, in the NBA, the thing about the NBA is they're so funny because the media plays such an important role in what goes on.
Yes.
And you hear the media and, you know, all year they hype the Nuggets up. And like you said, Barkley, he would interject with, oh, I think the Joker, he should be MVP. No, he should never be. That should never be an option. He should never be.
Well, he had a great year. Look, with all the triple doubles and he had a good.
That's great. Dwayne Howard had great years too.
Oh Lord.
So I mean, that's irrelevant. That's irrelevant.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
You see, you know, they hype the Nuggets up, and you know, realistically, the Nuggets are what the Atlanta Hawks were that year when they won
60 games.
They won 62 games, and everybody.
Bullho's the first 60 win team. Yeah.
But it's funny because, you know, not to get back to the LeBron subject.
And you know what's funny? Millsap was on both of those teams.
That is pretty crazy.
That's crazy. Paul Millsap was on both of those teams right there.
He's never going to win a ring.
He was never. He was not in Utah, not in Atlanta, not in Denver.
Not never. Not never. He's never.
He's just that guy.
It's just funny because I think that the media has to hype up these teams so that you can, have interest, because ultimately you kind of know that the Warriors are going to have such an impact that no matter what, the Nuggets won 62 games, or 60 games, how many games they won.
60 plus, yeah.
And, they're going against the Spurs, and Pop is such a coach with that team.
This is his time.
I think that the Spurs will ultimately win. They'll win that series.
I got the Spurs too. I really believe the Spurs with DeRozan and LaMarcus and young man Patty.
They got Rudy Gay.
Yeah, it's too much. It's too much over there.
And the Nuggets are just so inexperienced that they won 60 games, but they didn't have to.
Right.
They could have won 20 games. They're gonna be home after the first round.
Going fishing.
Yeah, it's not. That's not even. I think the Spurs will win. It may go 6 games. I think the Nuggets will. They're good enough to win a game, but I think Pop is just so good of a coach, and he still has a team. It's not like the ranking doesn't reflect the team.
Right. And I think this is what this playoff is all about. If you look at the rankings and you look at the teams, you feel that some teams that are lower ranked might be better than the teams that are higher ranked.
Yeah.
And it's all about who you. That's why the whole tanking and why teams try to get out of certain seeds, because you don't want to face a team. Like, you don't want to be in a 4 or 5 seed. Why? Because you're going to play the Warriors.
That's everybody.
Everybody. I want that 2-3.
The Lakers did the best thing. They ain't got to play the Warriors. Everybody going home anyway.
Everybody going fishing. All right, the last game of the series is the 2-7 series, the Magic and the Raptors. This series, funny enough, is 2-2. And the one big issue is, Kawhi haven't played a lot of games and stuff like that, but this is Kawhi's first playoff series in like 2 years since he had the injury against Golden State. Who do you think is going to win this series?
The Magic and the Raptors.
Well, listen, but the Magic got that guy.
It'll be interesting to watch ultimately because, the Magic have a bunch of people who don't belong in the playoffs. Like 1 through 12.
We're so angry because D Wade should be in the playoffs right now, and I would rather trade the Miami Heat and let D Wade be in the playoffs than watch the Orlando Magic in the playoffs. But that's just a personal opinion of mine.
Red for Wade, but I mean, the Magic and the Raptors. Unless Kyle Lowry just decides he don't know how to play basketball, and Kawhi Leonard,
Kawhi won't allow that shit.
If he plays how he laughs, which is terrible, then they're not going to win. But the Raptors should win in 5 games at most.
Right.
If the series goes beyond 5 games, the NBA should suspend the Raptors from playing in the playoffs.
Listen, I always say any team with DJ Augustine on it, that's not a team to root for.
Yeah, my God.
Like DJ Augustine goes along with with all the other players like Jameer Nelson and all the Sevelosa, all the players that the light skinned players, all those players.
It's crazy because the Magic have been bad since 1995. No, I'm sorry. Since Shaq left, they had 1 or 2 good years with Dwight, and they've been bad ever since. 2012,
the Dwight mayor. When Dwight didn't want to be there, but he wanted to be there. But it's great that they came back and they won 40+ games and stuff like that.
Who did they even get in that trade, or did they let him go?
Bro,
they traded.
They traded him, and then Bynum went to one team, and it was none of the teams that. All the people who got traded, none of them, I don't think any of those players are even in the NBA still.
I just want to say the Lakers are the king of finesse. They have fleeced the NBA with so much garbage, and they get these great players. And then it's just amazing. They traded, imagine that you traded Vlade Divac for Kobe.
But think about it. They traded Marcus Gasol for Paul Gasol.
And then Marcus Gasol ends up being a great center.
Who knew?
He ends up being because he was playing behind Bynum, and Bynum was Bynum was great for that title run. The 2 title runs they had, he was great for them. And then he just was like, "I'm gonna get a perm and not play no more." The guy got a perm, man.
Looking like Ike Turner.
I couldn't believe that when he showed up with a perm.
Let him know what is your Twitter feed?
My Twitter is at EW420. My Instagram is Norseman30. You can follow me there.
I'm at Mike Solo on Instagram and Twitter. So I'll definitely follow us. Like we just 2 brothers. We've known each other for many years, many years, and now we figured let's start a podcast because we love basketball. Basketball is like the shit. Like this man owns like every pair of Jordans alive, and maybe LeBron's at the same damn time.
Yeah, I'm a sneaker guy. Sneakers and sports.
Sneakerhead. So if you want to buy a pair of sneakers, that's the guy right there.
Yeah, sneakers and sports all day for me.
That's it. Same here. Like not a sneaker guy, but like I love sports. Like sports is like the shit. I love basketball, everything. Football. Now we get into that. That's a whole nother story.
Fashion and sports for you.
Fashion and sports for me. There we go.
Sneakers and sports.
Sneakers sports. All right, so we're gonna go to like 5 questions real quick, and this is gonna be a real lightning round of questions. So first question I want to ask you real quick, because we gotta be professional up here, because this is our first ever podcast. We're going coast to coast on this shit.
We live, baby.
We live, baby. All right, which player needs to have a great first round playoff run?
First round?
Yeah, first round.
Ben Simmons.
Ooh. I would say first round player. I get Harden. Harden has to have it because you score a lot of points.
No.
I think he's gonna burn out.
Harden has to have a great playoffs. Not just first round. He has to have a great playoffs.
Great playoffs.
Simmons is key because if they lose the series, I think it'll be because of him, nobody else.
Ooh. D'Angelo's gonna snitch on him. That's how you're gonna beat him. All right. Which team will be your? Which team is going to be your first round upset?
First round upset.
Yeah.
Jazz.
I got the Jazz too.
Donovan
Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell. I've been on you since last year. You are the truth. You are the truth.
I think the Jazz can upset.
I got the Jazz too. And then second one be the Spurs. It's got to be the Spurs.
Matter of fact.
Oh, you
can I take that back?
You take it back? You got it. Spurs. It's our first podcast. You can take every shit.
I think the Spurs will do it.
Spurs gonna do it?
I think the Spurs
gonna do it. All right. Who would be the most excited player of the playoffs to watch?
Most exciting to watch.
It's always Donovan Mitchell for me. Like that's
that's I can't tell you that you're wrong. That's your opinion. For me, I would just have to say I'm excited to see what Giannis is gonna do. I'm excited. I think that's going to be.
It's against the Pistons, so
everybody plays somebody terrible. I mean, the Warriors are playing who?
The Clippers.
The Warriors are playing the referees in the first round.
No, the referee's on their side. They gonna get all the calls.
It's the Warriors versus the YMCA.
Hey, listen, we're gonna put all the teams. We're gonna put all of the best YMCA players together.
They went and got the rec league players, not Drew League though. Those guys can ball.
Wait, hold on a second. Do you think Steph should sit out the first round?
I think Steph and KD can sit out the first round.
So you think Clay's gonna carry the team?
Just Clay, Boogie, and Draymond could beat everybody. You don't even need a starting 5. Just those 3.
Just those 3. All right. Which team in the East benefit without LeBron?
Wow. You can't even narrow that down to a team. To think that he.
Well, we already know the Magic does.
He owned a whole conference for 15 years. So I can't even say one team, not 15 years. I'd have to say from 2008 when he had hair.
Yeah, we had a hairline.
So last season, he owned the NBA. He owned the East.
Yes.
So
who's gonna be the team that benefits from that?
I think everybody does. I think it's wide open.
I would say the team that benefits has to be the Raptors.
You know what?
The Raptors could beat the Raptors could beat LeBron, so I think the Raptors benefit.
I was to think because last year they won 60 games last year
and they swept them.
He swept them with it was LeBron, Kevin Love, Louis, Dewey, and Hewitt. That's it.
The whole DuckTales?
It was DuckTales.
Even Darkwing Duck?
I can't believe that, man. How you win in your professional team and you lost to this guy?
Well, that's what forced the DeRozan trade. They hey, listen, we ain't winning with this.
The Cavs, I think they should have traded Lowry. I would have kept DeRozan, but The Cavs as a whole.
But the problem with DeRozan, he can't shoot threes,
and he's ugly. Oh my God, man. He's too old for acne.
Well, it's Canadian. It's Canadian acne.
I mean, you're right, though. The Raptors definitely benefit the most. I didn't even think about that element when you said that. But with him not being there, they actually have, they give off the illusion they have a shot. I don't think we'll see how good the Raptors are until they play, a team with some substance.
Right, because if they go and win, and let's say they win the next round, they play the 76ers. And that will be like the must-see matchup. If they win that and if they get to the next round, play the 76ers.
Yeah, that'll be good.
That'll be because now you're going to get Ben Simmons and a healthy Embiid and like all that talent. But we'll get into that next. We get into that next week once we see how the series goes.
Definitely.
And the last question, and I think the most important question: which team steals game one? Which underdog team steals game one? Underdog. See, I read it right.
Well, I think it goes back to the obvious: San Antonio. I think they're better than what that record reflects. So I think they can do it.
I would say the team that I feel still is the Jazz. I think the Jazz can still game one.
I don't know. That's a tough one because I think, with Westbrook and Paul George, I think they're on.
That's another series right there too. I think they can still get like the West. There's a lot of the underseeds. We believe that the lower seeds could be top seeds. And they can actually still game one.
Oh, I had my series confused. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So it's the
Trailblazers done there, and then Spurs and Nuggets.
No, it's Jazz and Houston. Right? Okay,
it's a 4-5 matchup.
Right. I don't know why I flashed back to last year. So I got confused.
Because the Trailblazers always they're just not that.
Every year they talk about how the Trailblazers are so great. I get tired of watching these sports shows. Man. They annoy me, man. They talk every year.
I know Stephen A. just had an interview with Lillard, but we already know what the time is. Like if you look at Lillard's history in the playoffs, if it wasn't that Chris Paul and Blake Griffin got hurt with the Clippers, the Portland Trailblazers wouldn't even win that series in that first round.
And but it's funny because these guys they talk about these guys are talking like these sports shows. And you see like Stephen A. and all these guys they talk about how the Jazz and not the Jazz the Blazers and they tell you about like how Damian Lillard and he's this great player and the Blazers are for real and then they're like LeBron moved out west and you just have to understand the West is a different animal and I was looking and I said
Anthony Davis beat them.
I said what the hell are we talking about?
Anthony Davis and Rondo beat them last year. So I when I look at Westbrook, like Westbrook is a better talent than Rondo on both ends.
Not so much that, right? It's just when they give the landscape of how the West is so tough, I always go, but the Warriors have went to the finals 4 straight years. So how tough can the West be?
And they was as a 2 seed last year.
2 seed. What year did they beat the Clippers and they went to the finals? I don't even know what seed.
They lost to the Clippers. They lost to the Clippers that year. That's when the games. That was the owner. When before he lost his team, he talked the shit and Chris Paul had a great game 7 against.
When they went in 14, I can't remember what seed they were.
They were
in 15.
They were the 1 seed. They were 1 seed.
Oh, they've been the 1 seed.
And that's Dwight when Dwight was on the Rockets that year.
Isn't that when they had him? They had him, right?
And then that's what made Dwight leave because they like. Dwight was the they looked at Dwight like he can't guard nobody, so we're gonna shoot threes all around him, and that was the 15 year.
Yeah, but
Dwight was the liability, and him and Omar Sheik. I remember that year.
But Houston they were up in that series.
No, they never were up. They were down like 3. Like the Golden State just bust that ass.
Oh no,
because that's when Harden got they stripped the ball on Harden and him and Clay and Steph. They stripped him at the end, and Harden couldn't get the shot off and shit like that.
That was the series that Houston beat the Clippers.
Right? Yeah, that's that's when the Clippers were up.
When Chris Paul.
Yeah.
He choked.
Yeah, that's the Austin Rivers coming out party. And it's funny enough. Look at Austin Rivers now on the Rockets now.
And backing up Chris Paul. Chris Paul's gonna bust his ass last year.
Who knew that Doc Gooden? I mean, Doc Gooden. Good Lord. Doc Rivers thought, say, you know what? I don't need my son no more. I'm gonna let him go.
It's crazy. It's I know that the media, they have a job to hide because they want you to be interested in the playoffs. It's almost like
we like the
boxing match.
We like people who are like. We all like star players, but I think we like people like the matchup that like the Nets and Sixers, because the series was tied during the whole regular season. That's gonna be a good series because you have like the Nets, that's just that team, a bunch of role players like we are, the role players. They're a bunch of role players that they could go in there and win a couple of games, stuff like that.
Yeah, I could see them stealing 1 or 2 games.
Yeah,
and making a series out of it, especially the Clippers, not the Clippers, I'm sorry. The 76ers' biggest asset is Embiid.
Yeah.
And if they get out of using Embiid and try to go with just Jimmy Butler and Tobias Harris, they're going to lose. And, D'Lo, as long as they don't – the key to the Nets' success is if D'Angelo Russell can, number one, stay out of foul trouble.
And snitch.
And stay on fire like he has been all year.
And I think that's one of the things because the regular season, like I think Kenny Jet always said, the regular season where you make your name and the postseason where you make your fame. Like I think can D'Angelo Russell make his fame in the playoffs? Like the playoffs is a whole different beast because it's one thing when you play the 76ers one night and then you play like the Memphis Grizzlies the next night. You playing that team that's every single night.
Right. So if you have one bad game, like if you have a bad game against, the 76ers, it's like, okay, then you bounce back the next game and you playing, the Suns and you drop 45. So people forget about that last game.
Right.
You come into game 1 and you play like trash.
Yeah.
And then, that gives the coach an advantage. Like, oh, we were doing this to stop him. So, all right, every time he comes around the screen, I want somebody there to stop him from getting that jumper.
Right.
And that that goes all the way back to, coaches making adjustments. So if the coach can make an adjustment and stop you every time for what you like, it's different than when I see you in October and we don't play again until December.
Right. Do you think it's going to be a higher level like zone defense in the playoffs? Because when you had LeBron, you had the double team and stuff like that. Who is the player you feel as though, especially like in the Eastern Conference, you feel that demands a double team? If you look at all the landscape, all the players,
who demands a
double team? Yeah,
that's tough. I don't know. Kawhi maybe, maybe Kawhi, but I don't think there's just one person who can. I don't see that person.
Do you think they're gonna try to double team Giannis and try to force? Because if you look at like that Milwaukee team, like Brook Lopez could shoot 3, like Bledsoe and Middleton, like they have like shooters all around, which is kind of like.
Giannis hasn't. I think Middleton's out, right? Didn't he hurt his toe?
He hurt his toe, but he's like that's gonna be like a game time decision on that one right there. So
I don't think they're projecting him to play, but I think with Giannis, I think the key to Giannis, his elevation in his career will ultimately be his jump shot.
Okay.
If he gets that going, and he can, he's at that stage where LeBron was, where it's like, you can't control him, but what his weakness is, right? And his weakness is his jump shot.
Yeah.
So if you can force him out of the paint and only force him to shoot jumpers, then you can possibly steal a game. But Milwaukee has so many weapons that it just doesn't stop at Giannis. It's like Eric Bledsoe. As quiet as it's kept, Bledsoe was the man for a while.
And he don't have to go get Scary Terry.
Yeah. So you got like Bledsoe. He can still get you 20 points on a good night.
Right. All right. So real quick, game 1, Warriors Clippers. Who win game 1?
Really? The NBA.
Game 1, Bucks Pistons. Who win game 1?
Bucks.
Game 1, Rockets Jazz. Who win game 1?
Rockets.
Game 1, Celtics Pacers. Who win game 1?
Celtics.
Game 1, Blazers Thunder. Who win game 1?
Thunder.
Game 1, Nets 76ers. Who win that?
Nets.
Ooh, Nets, really? Wow. Wells Fargo, get ready. Game 1, Nuggets Spurs. Who win that?
Spurs.
Game 1, Raptors Nets. Who win that? I mean, Raptors Magic.
Raptors. You could have said the Nets. Anybody. Too bad the Nets can't play in 2 different series.
Oh, man. Yo, follow me. I'm at Mike Solo on Instagram and Twitter.
EW420 on Twitter.
And we are the Role Players. Holla.